Hey everybody, I'm Bob and I'm an addict. Can we open this meeting with a moment of silence for the addict who still suffers, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right. I have asked an addict to read who is an addict.
My name is Patrick, and I am an addict.
Hey, Patrick.
Who's an addict? Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. The getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of a continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death.
Thanks, Pat. I've asked someone to read what is the NA program.
My name is Nick. I'm an addict.
Hey, Nick.
NA is a non-profit fellowship or society of men and women for whom drugs have become a major problem. We are recovering addicts who meet regularly to help each other stay clean. It's a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. There is only one requirement for membership: the desire to stop using. We suggest that you keep an open mind and give yourself a break. Our program is a set of principles written so simply that we can follow them in our daily lives. The most important thing about them is that they work. There are no strings attached to NA. We are not affiliated with any other organizations. We have no initiation fees or dues, no pledges to sign, no promises to make to anyone. We are not connected with any political, religious, or law enforcement groups, and are under no surveillance at any time. Anyone may join us regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, lack of religion. We are not interested in what or how much you used, who your connections were, what you have done in the past, how much or how little you have, but only what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. The newcomer is the most important person at any meeting because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. We have learned from our group experience that those who keep coming to our meetings regularly stay clean. Please let me read.
Thanks, Nick. All right. We're going to have Bruce, who's going to speak on other signs of our disease, and then we're going to have Lee P., who's going to talk about the gifts of giving back. So I'd like to turn it over to Bruce.
I'm an addict. My name is Bruce W.
Hey, Bruce.
Truly, I'd like to thank the God of my understanding for being here. And if it ain't no imposition of anybody, is this somebody's first convention? Welcome. The reason I do that is because what I've learned is God that brought me here, and it's God that's keeping me here. So I need to do God's work. He welcomed the newcomer.
I've been so excited to be here the whole time. I'm Elizabeth and I'm an addict. And being on this spiritual team, I've loved it. I've given so many hugs. I want to hug everybody and tell them I'm so glad they're here because I'm so glad I'm here. And I've gotten to meet lots of people and I love it. And I want to do like 80 conventions every year so we can all go. Yes. Sorry, I just want to. And I want to hear everybody speak because everybody has a story. And anyway, I'm going to say nothing else because I don't want to interrupt your Bruce moment.
That's
Thank you,
God's
Liz.
worship. All right. My clean date is December 10th, 1993. That's the day I got clean. I first came to NA in 92 of December. But I found a lot of differences. You people was crazy. Y'all smoked crack and did heroin. Y'all should have just did other stuff. You know, I found more differences than similarities. Then I went back out. I didn't relapse. I don't tell that like, well, I relapsed. I wasn't working on shit. I was finding more differences than similarities. And the last time I used was December 9th, 1993. I spent $200 on some lemon head candy where the dude that sucked all the lemon head off of it, the yellow, and cut it up and put oil gel on it. And I'm going to be slick. I go, he give me nice, a half of a lemon head. I said, look, bro, what y'all to do for this other 100, give me that other half and one more quarter of that, and you have $200. He said, my man, and he hugged me, and I gave him my money. And went to somebody's house and messed up their shit, and they wanted to throw me at one, they wanted to whoop my behind. And I looked at my buddy and I asked him, I said, will you come by in the morning and take me to treatment? He said, what time you want to go? I said, 7 o'clock. He said, I'll be here. And I was at a friend's house. We didn't get hot, nothing like that. And he came at 6:45, blowed the horn. I come out, I got in the car, and I went into treatment. December 10th was my first day clean. I went into treatment, and the most powerful message that was given to me was, the treatment centers at that time, you had to have no insurance. You had $15. The group will put your ass in treatment. Mm-hmm. And I went in there, and the guy said, they was hugging them people in they worked there, and didn't nobody hug me? See, I was getting ready to cuss him out, but I didn't do nothing. I didn't do that. I thought about that man and them lemon, I ain't gonna tell nobody that. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, to make a long story short, this little short guy come by, and I hollered at him. I said, hey. I said, Blue, come here. He come, he said, yeah, what's up? I say, I'm back. He looked up at me. He said, what you gonna do different? I said, F you little SOB. He looked at me and he walked away. From that day, and they gave me a tablet, like a notebook, a little thin notebook with a little paper in it. That day, I began to write. The 40 days I stayed in treatment, I began to write. Every night I wrote. I wrote about this guy got them fake alligator shoes on, this girl walking around here like she all hot like somebody want her. Everybody I wrote on, and I kept writing on, I found out one thing about writing. You cannot write yourself a lie. The reason it was fake alligators because I didn't have none. And the reason she was acting all like that because she wasn't looking at me. And I did 40 days I wrote. I got out. I went to a transitional house. I stayed in there about 60, 90 days. Went to another one. Got me a sponsor. And my sponsor my first sponsor was a female. I'm glad I got a female for a sponsor. And it wasn't about no sex. She was telling me stuff that was helping me. I said, that girl looked just like Crystal. Boy, I'm going to get with her. And she asked one day, who is Crystal? I said, that's the girl that died, and I loved her. She said, so what are you trying to do, replace Crystal? I said, yeah. She said, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You need to accept people for who they is, and you need to accept yourself first of who you are. It starts with me, and it ends with you. That's what she said, but I'm just saying to me. So I went on and did that, and I kept her till I decided to get a man for a sponsor, and that was 4 months later. And I got this gentleman, and he came to me. I went to him, and he asked me, was I ready to do something different? I said, yeah. He gave me IP number 10, living the program. He said, I want you to fill this out every night. I said, I wrote every day in 30 days. And he said, you ain't in treatment now. You in NA. Write every night. I said, okay. I wrote every night. He said, do 90 meetings in 90 days. I said, that ain't no problem. I won't miss a meeting today. I said, I love you. He said, yeah, by the way, if you thinking about doing 3 tomorrow and the next 2 days you ain't got to go to no meeting, that's a lie. He said, what you want to say? I said, nothing. You was thinking that, wasn't you? And don't tell no lie. I said, yeah, I was thinking that. Anyway, to make a long story short, I stayed in recovery. One thing he told me that I believe in today, I didn't start I ain't like the new people come in now. I didn't start no step work till I had 9 months clean. And one of the things he told me that has really helped me, and I try to tell my sponsees, the broader you spread your base, the higher point of freedom you're going to reach. And I try to get them to write every night. I stand here, December the 10th, I will have 26 years. I'm completing my 21st time of going through the steps. See, what I learned about the steps, they help me. What I learned about writing every night, it helps me, because you can't write yourself a lie. And I remember just as good as day, he would go over my Living the Programs every week with me. He said, oh, I see you donated $30 to the newcomer on Tuesday. I said, yep. I said, we can only keep what we have by giving it away. He said, you donated 20 on Thursday. I said, yep, we can only keep what we have by giving it away. Saturday, you gave the newcomer $40. You went to that meeting, and that meeting. Do they pass the seventh tradition? I said, yeah. And then they passed the newcomer basket around and you gave them that money? I said, no, they don't do it. We can only keep what we have by giving it away. So you went and gave the girl $20, $30, and $40, huh? I said, yeah. Didn't the girl tell you to call your sponsor and ask your sponsor, when you place unrealistic expectations on yourself and others and your fantasies ain't fulfilled, you want to cry, pour me a drink. I said, that newcomer didn't know what she was talking about. Yeah, she told me that old bullshit. She know what the hell she was talking about. You know how newcomers is. He said, yeah, I'm looking at one, you. The girl called and told me the girl wasn't no newcomer. The girl that only had been here 6 years and went out for a week and came back, and you got a hold of her, and you took her and bought her some stuff, and you want to go have sex with her, and she told you she wasn't doing that, to call your sponsor. He said, now, what's up with that? I said, well, you know how they are. No, I know how you are. You still trying to lie. Right on that tonight. I wrote on it. And one of the things I found out from my little mistakes to where I am today, I don't make the same mistakes. I've been here, my recovery's been great. I ain't went back and used. The closest I've come to using since I've been clean is when I had 4 years and 2 weeks. I went by a woman's house just because I hadn't seen her in the meeting. And she came to the window and she was smoking. I said, what is you doing? She said, I'm getting high. I said, well, pass me the pipe. She said, do what? I said, pass me the pipe. I stuck my hand out the sunroof. She said, ain't you coming up on 5 years? I said, fuck that. Give me the pipe. She said, hold on a minute. She went back in there and she come back out and she passed me a plaque. And it said, remember, you have a friend, and my name is God, and I love you. Do you love me? If you love me, you'll love yourself. I passed her that plaque back. I backed my ass out that driveway. I went home. I got on the phone. I called Atlanta to another recovering addict, and I told her what I had just did. She told me to go to the meeting tomorrow and share that, to free myself. I said, well, I can't share that in the meeting tomorrow. What the newcomer gonna think of me? She said, MF, you gonna be a MF newcomer. She slammed the phone down. I went to the meeting and I shared it. And that was it. I mean, what I've learned in this process, the more I go through step work, the better I get. Now, I had a girl. I used to go with a girl. When I got clean, we did steps. We didn't have a step working guy. We didn't have them. We had them papers. And them papers, I loved them. When I done my first step on that paper, it told me, write down your definition of each of the words in the first step. And I did that, wrote down what I thought the definition was. Then the second one said, get you a collegiate dictionary and write down its definition. And I done that. Then it said, what is the difference between your definition and the collegiate dictionary's definition? I called my sponsor. I said, you know what? I thought we was in NA. Why this thing trying to tell me we in school? He said, you must be on the first step. What did he tell you? He said, you ain't got to tell me. Why don't you want to write what you thought it was? I said, okay, I'll do it. Then I hung up, and I wrote it. Since then, I've been doing my steps like that. You know, recovery has given me a lot because I've put a lot into this program. And one of the things today, moving forward, one of the things today that I'm grateful for, I stayed here as long as I did. And that thought of using, that's the first and the last time I thought about using was when I moved down here in 2005. I live in Florida. And I moved down here, my mother called me. She wanted me to come back up to Cincinnati and help her. And I told her, Mom, I got a job. I make $1,500 a weekend. You need some money? She said, look, boy, ain't nobody called down there and asked you for money. I got money. I want your behind up here. Mom, look, you got a job. Okay, I respect that, Bruce. Now, what you do, you go put all that furniture in your storage bin, and if they charge you $100 a month, you make $1,500 a week. You still in that organization? Yes, I'm still in NA. Okay, you go pay them people $1,200. They'll probably give you a discount because you're going to pay a lump sum of money. And then you go you get in your car and you drive up here. Now, if you don't come up here, boy, I'm going to get on that Greyhound bus and I'm going to bring me a big old stick. And I'm going to whoop your behind all the way back up here on the bus. I went back to Cincinnati. And I helped my mother. My mother had dementia. And I kept going to meetings and I was sharing my mother got dementia. I don't know what to do. So what I was taught when I got clean, get phone numbers. 30 more phone numbers. I have 4,000 phone numbers in my phone. It's a blessing to have that many numbers. Because when your anniversary comes and you be home sleeping, and somebody from California calls, hey, you wake up, yeah, happy anniversary. Who is, oh man. You know, I like that. You know. And then what I'm so grateful for though, I don't buy girls' cars no more. I don't go get girls just to be with me because I got money. I don't do that. What I really appreciate about the program, God don't put no more in you than you can handle at that time that he put it on you. When I got through the first step the first time, I looked at my sponsor, we got to step 12. I said, we finally finished. I was smiling and stuff. He said, finish? I said, ain't no such thing, no step 13. We done. We don't have to do the steps no more. All we got to do is 10, 11, and 12. He said, who told you that? I said, that's what they say in the room. He said, what they say in the room, they don't know shit. The book says right here, it is not the end, it's the beginning. Now take your monkey ass back to 1 and write why your life's still unmanageable. My life ain't unmanageable. I got a job, I pay my rent, I got 2 cars, I pay my car note, and I'm okay. And I got a bank account, I give my mother money. You still buying girls stuff, looking for something in exchange. See how your life unmanageable? And justifying it that you giving it, when really you ain't giving it. He said, Bruce, let me tell you something. What you give a recovering addict, if they don't say thank you, don't worry about it. Because what God's going to give you going to be better than that thank you. You'll learn to get out yourself. Quit doing stuff for people and looking for them to give you something in return. That's what you did when you used crack. You gave the boy $5. Now you wanted him to give you some when he had some. And you ain't seen him in 3 weeks. You say, well, you know, Lord, 3 weeks ago I gave you that. You know, we don't do that. You give from the heart, and God will touch the heart. And that's the way he explained it to me. And I was grateful he did. I had some real hard times in recovery too. One was when I went up there, my mother died. My mother died, I was there. And one night, just before she died, she came down the steps. I said, where you going, Mama? I'm going to see my mother and father. I said, grandmother and grandfather dead. Why would you say something like that to me, Bruce? They're not dead. They just called me. They said they was on their way. I said, okay. I went in the room. I got an iPhone. I hit the old-fashioned ring. What's that? Ring, ring. She said, get the phone. I said, I got it. Yeah. Well, she down here in the hallway. What? Grandmother said, they can't come because they're going over to Sister Elizabeth's house, and they'll see you tomorrow at the church. Tell her I'm going to bed, and I'll see him later. And she went on upstairs. I wanted a beer. I picked up the phone. I called my friend in Detroit. He said, you want a beer? I said, yeah, this is driving. I go to the rooms, I keep sharing, and people keep telling me I'm powerless. I know I'm powerless, but why do they keep telling me that? Bruce, what you do, pick up the phone tomorrow, go to the Alzheimer's Association, get their phone number, and when you go over there, ask them to speak to the professional people that deals with dementia, and they can help you. Well, why don't they help me in NA? Them people is powerless. They don't know nothing about no dementia. I followed the suggestion. This is funny, though. I'm sitting at the desk talking to the lady. I got an NA shirt on. She said, your mother has a disease. I said, my mama don't have no disease. She said, your mother has a disease. I said, well, if you want to say it's a disease, it's a disease. You have a disease. No, I ain't got no disease. I don't have no disease. How long you been doing dementia? I don't have dementia. I don't have no disease. Your mother has a disease. No, my mother don't. She got up from behind the desk. She looked at me. She said, sir, you have a disease called addiction, and you in the damn program there, Narcotics Anonymous. Everybody just don't wear that shirt. You in NA? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, your mother has a disease. Now, before you tell me your mother's not in NA, I know she ain't in NA. But haven't your mother told you to go get her some water, and when you come back, she asks you, what you bring me this water for? I said, yeah, she do that. Your mother has a disease. I said, what kind of disease she got? Short-term memory. They can remember stuff when they was young, but they'll tell you to go do something, and when you come back, they'll ask you, why'd you do that? I said, okay. She said, this is what you do. I said, what? She said, what else does she do? She tell me about the kids being in the living room, and they don't be in the living room. And what she asks you to do? Run them out. Next time she tell you to run the kids out the living room, go upstairs and run them out. You know ain't none in there. Bruce? Yes, mother? Come here. Them kids in the living room. I went right up them steps. Y'all get out this living room. Went through the whole motion. Yeah. Went down the steps like that, you know. And I closed the door. She said, Bruce, come here. I went upstairs. I said, yes, mother? She said, I love you. I said, I love you too, mama. And I kissed her on the cheek. And she whispered in my ear, TKO's over there hiding behind that living room chair. Get him out of here, too. I said, yes, Mother. Come on, TKO, let's go. And I went on down to see us, put him out. I come back. She said, I love you. You lock that door down there. And don't have no girls from that organization over here, or you going to tell me they from the organization, they want to talk to you. Ain't no girls coming over at this house no 2 in the morning talking about they want to talk to you. But you know what? That was my love. And when she died, I buried my mother. Only thing I didn't do, and I'm glad I didn't do it, I didn't go view my mother in the coffin. The family members walked up there and did it, but I didn't do that. I don't go view. I don't have some people in NA die. I don't view you in the coffin. Because when my grandfather died, the last thing I always thought about was him. The last picture in my mind was him laying in that coffin. And I don't view people like that. I'd rather remember you as you was living and smiling than laying in a coffin. And through this step work, what I'm going to wrap it up, through this step work, what I have found, each time I done been through the steps, I've come up with new stuff God put on me to deal with. And I'm able to deal with it. This 20th time, I live in Florida. I go to the meetings. Their meetings last an hour. You only get 4 minutes to share. I go to them 3 meetings 3 times a week. I don't share or nothing. I take that damn book work, take my basic text, my It Works High and Wide, and I got by me recording, I got the first old sponsee, hardcore old school version step book. I got a copy of that. And I go in there where I do my steps. I'm in the meeting one day and I went back to my papers. And I wrote on the paper, this was my 20th time. And I put down the police, the undercover officer. I put down the resentment on him. I put down the resentment for his buddy, the police. And I went to writing. The reason I resented the police, because he should have told me that guy was the undercover police, and the undercover police should have told me that he was undercover, and I wouldn't have tried to send him nowhere to go buy no dope. And I went back and I read the paper, and it told me this in the paper. What part of the resentment did you play in the resentment? I said, damn. I wrote it down. I was just trying to get the money so me and my girl could move and go back to Dallas. She went back to Dallas. I went to prison for 3 years. I wasn't in recovery. And she died. She got killed in her house with her family. And that was hard for me. And through that, I got through it. I didn't think about using. And the more stuff I do now, I'm better with Bruce. Yeah, I got a beautiful home. I have a beautiful home in Florida. I wasn't moving no damn Tampa. I moved to Palm Harbor, where they have gated communities, and you're in the homeowners association. Now, at first, it was real cool. I moved down to Florida. I had a Honda. Then I bought me a BMW. Then I bought another BMW. Then I bought the Toyota Hybrid. I traded the BMW in, the black one, hardtop convertible, and bought me a Maserati. I'm living good. I go down the street. I don't go in the hood picking up nobody. I try to go get, upstanding ladies that's got something on their mind. I don't do that no more because my judgment wasn't that good. I met 2 nice women, and every time I brought this one, this what broke me up from that. The last 2 I met, I know what I'm getting ready to do some stuff, because I go take the family pictures down, and I go went in on the flea market and bought some white guys' pictures that played hockey. And I had my nephew, when I went up to Cincinnati, to Bruce, you're a wonderful agent. And I hang them on the wall. So when I brought him in the house, they said, what you do? This is beautiful. When I get to the second house, Timmy, I reach down, I keep my garage door open down there, and I hit it. And when I turn up in the garage, they see the Maserati, they see the white BMW. This yours? Yeah. I said, this thing always do that. Come on. And we go through the house. I give him a tour of the house. Then she come back. They always get to the other bedroom, they say, this is nice. Where the bed's at? So I go to the door, and I pull the door, and the other door opens, and the beds come down. She said, it's beautiful. My kids can sleep back here. I said, who? My kids. I got a boy and a girl. They can sleep back here. Where they sleeping at now? Oh, they sleep with me. Oh, they love it over there. Then she said, can I take a shower? I said, yeah, you can take a shower. Where your room at? So I take her across the thing. I got a hell of a room. She said, I want to take a shower. I said, well, you didn't bring no clothes. You got towels, don't you? Yeah. And I walked all the way across the hall to the other bedroom. I said, now you go in there when you take a shower, make sure this towel is in there so don't no water get on my floor. She said, no, I want to take a shower over there with you. I looked in your bathroom. I see you got a shower. You could walk in. You could sit down in. I said, yeah, come on. You go over there. Make a long story short, she went in there. I'm laying across my bed with my clothes on, watching television. She done been in the shower an hour. I said, what is you doing in there? I'm coming out in a minute. I'll be out in 10 minutes. 20 minutes done went by. I go and I hit the knob, the door handle. I said, why you lock me out my bedroom? my shower room. I'm coming out. And she come out. It don't smell right in there. So when I go up, my counter's about as long as this wall right here. So his and her, mirror and the thing. I go up there and I get the spray and I'm spraying Glade air freshener. I go to put it back up in the cabinet and I look down. God damn. What the hell is all this white shit? Oh, no, she ain't did that, God. I know she ain't did that. I went and broke open the toothpaste box, broke it, and scraped all that white stuff together and called. I said, come here. She come back in there with a towel on. I said, you can put your clothes back on. What is this? Oh, I stopped and got us something to get high with. Baby, I don't get high. I could be the damn police. You didn't know that? No, I already had it, and I thought I'd share it with you. No, you don't want none? No, I don't want none because I be done sold them cars, I be done sold my house, I be done sold the furniture, and I be out there with nothing. I think you, come here, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. I went in there and put that shit in the toilet and did it like that. Then went over there and rinsed it off real good, throwed it, laid it down, cleaned my bathroom, go put your clothes on. When she got through, I put it in the car. She said, you going to take me in the Maserati? No, I'm not taking you in the Maserati. I'm taking you home in the Honda. And when you get out the Honda, I'm going to the car wash, and I'm going to vacuum the hell out my car because I ain't got time for the police to stop me for something I do. I don't fuck with that shit. From that day to this day, I don't bring nobody else to my house. I don't go around lying neither. I'm a soccer agent. Shit. I don't do that. You know, but what I've learned though, the disease can affect you in other areas of your life, without dope. I share this, I'm gonna be through. The last thing it affected me was this time, the 21st time, I was on my 6th step, the 9th step, and I was doing my step work. And I was writing down not the resentment, my defects of character. And I went there and I read it. I said, I ain't got none. I said, I ain't got no defects. I'm going to call my sponsor. I leave the house. I go to the BMW, buy a brand new BMW, 2019. Take it home, park it in the garage. I call him. I said, you know, I ain't got no defects of character, but I bought me a brand new BMW today. He said, where your basic text? I said, right there in my bedroom. He said, go get it and read step 6. And when he got to the part, he said, greedy. We get greedy. He said, did you think you was greedy? I said, I didn't call you to tell me I was greedy. I called you to tell you I bought a new BMW. Greedy. He said, call me tomorrow. I know you'll have some good news for me. I love you, and he hung up. I woke up that morning, I took that goddamn car back to BMW, told him, and I didn't lie, I told the man, look, I'm not serene. He said, you're not what? I said, I don't have no peace within inside me. Because if I buy this car, maybe in 3 months, I'll be back here talking about, can y'all take it back or rewrite the adjustment, the payments or something. He looked at me, he said, Mr. Williams, I never had nobody do that. I respect you. You must be in one of those 12-step programs. I said, yep, I'm in the Clean and Serene program. I'm clean, and I ain't gonna have no serenity if I buy that car. He took it back. And now I watch myself what I spend. But you know, recovery done that for me. And the God, I'm understanding you people. I can sit in a meeting and listen to somebody share something and look at myself and say, damn. First I used to say, well, he don't know what he doing. I was like, shit, I done did it different. Wind up doing the same damn thing, but a different way, same results. So with that, I thank you all. You all have a blessed weekend.
All right. Thank you. Lee is going to speak on the gifts of giving back.
I'm Liam, an addict.
Hey, Lee.
I'm very grateful to be an addict and a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Keep track of the time for me. Grateful to be an addict. Yes, grateful to be an addict. So I want to thank the committee for asking me to do this. And Katie, it's always an honor and a privilege. But I'm so thrown off for like a week. I thought my topic was the gifts of the program. And then yesterday when I got the little brochure, it said the gifts of giving back. So I was like, shit. You know, I've been thinking about one thing all week. And so that kind of threw me off. And then last night at midnight, some people were having like maybe fellowship in their room or something. They were talking really loud, and it woke me up around midnight. And then around 2 a.m., dinner said it's time to get up because we're coming out. What I had for dinner last night, so I didn't sleep well. So I'm using this as a disclaimer. I may be way off my game. And that's okay, you know, that's okay. Change is the only constant. And so this morning, I do this writing exercise every morning, and I was writing about the gifts of giving back versus the gifts of the program. And there are many. I was enjoying what my man was just sharing. The reason I told y'all about sleep, like for the last 7 or 8 years of my active addiction, I didn't sleep. And so now that I'm clean, sleep is a very important part of my recovery. You know what I mean? It helps me to stay grounded when I get enough sleep. And right now, I don't have nowhere near enough sleep. But the gifts of giving, I have to go back to the beginning. I got clean in August of 1987. And I haven't found it necessary to use anything. Well, that's not true. Because somebody was sharing about using versus drugs. I haven't used any drugs since 1987. Let me clarify that. But see, when I got clean, it was different. They used to tell us to do crazy stuff. Like I was told to do a rant. They did. They would tell us to do crazy stuff. I was told I owed a lot, because I was kind of a taker in active addiction. So they said, you owe a lot. So you owe this fellowship. This fellowship saved your life. And I believed that early on. I believed that. I was ready. I was right at the precipice of death, and Narcotics Anonymous kind of snatched me out of the jaws of death. So I believe the program saved my life. So I listened to them. And this one guy told me, he said, every day I want you to go out and do a random act of kindness for somebody. Don't tell nobody and don't get found out, or else you have to do another one. Now that sounds easy, right? Well, think about the self-centered nature of the addict when they get here. I would be like, ooh, you're not gonna believe what I did. Oh shit, I can't tell. And it was a struggle. And I tried to do it every day, and it was different. We didn't have like a person at every intersection with a sign saying, we're arresting you for some food or whatever. So you had to really look for the opportunities. And so I started figuring it out pretty early on. And what happened was, through that giving, the self-centered nature of addiction started to go away. That was one thing I noticed. And another thing I noticed was the more I gave, the more I received. Now that was like, you know what I mean? I came from a world where you didn't give nothing. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, this simple little thing started to change stuff. So to tell you the extreme, like I would be at the convenience store, maybe buying a pack of cigarettes or something, and I'd give the woman a 10, and she would give me change for a 20. I would just be like that. I couldn't say it because that was not who I was, my character. That was not my character. So I would just stand there holding up the line with my hand out with the change until she recognized, oh, I gave you too much change. That's how bad it was. So this whole giving thing was just very foreign to me. I'm also fortunate because my sponsor, my first sponsor, which I want to talk about that too at some point, used to take me all over the state to like the regional service weekends. And they would have like a Saturday night dance. And so I was down with that part. But the whole sitting at the table, listening to them talk about service work and what this committee did and what that committee did, I was like, I couldn't hardly sit down to start with. You know what I mean? I was that guy. It was very hard to articulate this language. So having to sit still and listen to these people talk was excruciating. But something started to happen. Eventually, I started to listen. And then through learning how to listen there, I was able to hear more in the meetings. And I wasn't in my head. I wasn't preoccupied with the freight train of thought that would start. Like when I got clean, I would open my eyes, the thoughts would just, and I was an impulsive person. So if the thought said, do this, I did it. And it was horrible. It was really bad outcomes from listening to my thoughts. Throw me that water, Nick. Thank you, sir. So through going through all these service things, which I didn't understand, it taught me that I needed to give back. And so I started doing service work early on. We used to have like ashtray duties, picking up cigarette butts, mopping the floors, did all of those. And I'm ex-military, so, I was like with a toothbrush sometimes making sure the shit was right. Obsessive, compulsive, completely obsessive, compulsive. But by doing service, I was able to start giving again. And then receiving, but not aware. I probably wasn't self-aware until around 5 years clean. We didn't have the literature. We didn't have the flat book. We didn't have the Just for the Day. We didn't have It Works How and Why. We had the basic text, the IPs, and we would use other fellowship stuff and write up, strike out the words. I had a little book from another fellowship with black lines over a specific word because I used that to burn shit. I never drank it. Yeah, I ain't got time for that. And so, I used to think that like being at Region was this big, like, oh, they're all calm and they're not yelling or throwing chairs at each other. And so I liked that, but I also liked the chair throwing and people getting stabbed and whatnot. So I did a lot of area service too. I didn't stab anybody. I'm going to just say it. I didn't do it, but it was crazy. And in that in that attempt to give, I remember one day I was like a GSR or something, and I was like sick of doing it. And I said, man, I quit. I'm not doing this shit no more. I'm not getting nothing out of going there, It doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel serene when I leave. And he said, Lee, when you go there, it's not for you. Huh? He said, you go there to represent this group. You go there to get the stuff we need to vote on and bring it back to tell us. And I was like, me, you know what I mean? Me. Y'all don't know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Awkward. That was awkward. That self-absorbed self-obsession was so strong, I thought it was about me. I did. I thought it was about me. But when he said that, something happened. I hope that goes on there. Y'all know what that is? What that is?
Your head popping
My
out your
head
ass.
coming out my ass.
Yeah.
I talked about it through the 12-step process and through being a service. Ever so slowly, my head popped out of my butt. I'm an addict, okay? If it feels good, if you do one and it feels good, do two. It's probably going to feel better, right? So then all of a sudden, this giving transformed into something else, and then it became a thing. You know what I mean? Like if I went to bed at night and I hadn't done a random act of kindness, feel like shit, I didn't get to do one today. But I heard the speaker share this last night. Something also happened from that doing this, and that's probably not a word. I probably just made that up. Like I got in a career and I was working, and these people were starting to ask questions like, "Well, Lee, what do you think we should do?" And I would be like, "Let's take a 5-minute break, and I'm going to run to the restroom and come back." Now, this is what Narcotics Anonymous teaches. I would be in the bathroom in a $3,000 suit on my knees praying for two things. One, the answer to the question, and two, that they don't figure out who the F I am. Because if they would, they'd have kicked me out of the club. You hear me? And the answer would come. And it came from giving. And it was another form of giving. It was compensated. I was compensated for giving. But the stuff from the program was like coming through me. And it was like, you know what I mean? You know that feeling? When you do the right thing for the right reason and nobody's looking, you're like, oh, that was weird. Where did that come from? Who did that? You know what I mean? Who did that? Because I was just that thrown off. And so I stayed in service. I still am in service. And somebody was sharing earlier, one of the things like the disease of addiction was isolation. So the opposite of that is connection. Right now, thanks to social media, I have friends in other countries who are doing service work. And we're still connected, and we give. And sometimes I'm giving, sometimes they're giving. So that's a gift of giving. You know what I mean? That component of being connected. I don't know how many people. But I use social media to stay in touch with the ones that are out of the country. The ones in the country, I see them at conventions or at service conferences. And I'm looking forward, this is really odd, I'm looking forward to next April because the World Service Conference is next April. And so I get to see all these people and I get to hug all these people and we go eat and we hang out and we go do stuff in Los Angeles and act crazy at night and eat hot dogs at 11:30. That's why I was in the bathroom at 2 a.m. this morning, crazy yesterday.
Am I invited to this conference?
If you want to go, you're more than welcome to go, sir.
I'm just asking because you said you get to hug people.
You should probably talk to your regional delegate.
I'm kidding.
Get it? I'm not. Tell him bring me. Everybody's welcome. So yeah, that was odd that through doing service became a giving of self, and then the return was greater than the giving. Another one, and it's the lifeblood of the fellowship, and you guys all know about it, and I feel like it's so redundant to talk about it, but it's sponsorship. So picture that spastic, big-eyed guy who came in. So I'd come around in like June of '87 to do recon. I'm ex-military, so I had to check this out. You know what I mean? I wasn't all in for many, many years. And I thought I was clean. I put my girlfriend in treatment, blah, blah, blah. Then she got out of treatment, and then we used a lot together. And then the next day, I was like, you know what? I can't do this no more. I had gotten a gift of desperation. So I said, I'm going to NA. What you want to do? She said, I'm going to get high. I said, pack up. You go that way? I went that way. We went our separate ways. And I show up at a service meeting for the World Convention. And I'm like all over the place. And I come busting through the door. And this guy stops me and says, man, where you going? I need to go to a meeting. I need a meeting. He said, well, this is a service meeting. Why don't you go wait in your car? I'm going to come out just as soon as we're almost finished. I'm going to come out and talk to you. Okay. The car was just like, you know what I mean? If somebody would have passed inside that car, they'd probably be like, what the hell is he doing? But anyway, so this guy comes out. Never seen him before in my life. He stays with me from that moment till the next day. He didn't want nothing. He wasn't gay. He didn't want sex. Nothing. He didn't want anything from me. But he stayed with me till the drugs wore off, sort of, and I could kind of get it together enough to go clean up to go to the NA meeting to pick up my white key tag. That person has been my best friend for one day longer than I've been clean. Connection. So anyway, he couldn't be my sponsor. He was like my practical financial guide in this journey. But 2 days into this process, I'd gotten the nerve up to ask this guy to be my sponsor. He always wore nice suits. He had a BMW. Hair was always well groomed. I said, I want him. I want what he got. So I walk up to this guy. Hey, Michael, will you be my sponsor? He goes, no, man, I'm sorry. I got too many. And all of a sudden I hear a voice says, I'll sponsor you. And I look up and there's like this 7-foot tall, 350-pound black man. He just, whoa. I'm about 150 pounds soaking wet at the time, okay? And he just scoops me up like, I'll sponsor you. And I'm like, He put up with that crazy person for 8 years in a row. And we had car phones, but we didn't have cell phones. But I called him every day, at least once a day. And I was the guy who got an idea, then I would call him, like, there's another piece of literature that's outside issue, so I won't name the name of it, but it's about codependency and lady issues. Well, I borrowed that book one morning at a camp out from a woman because I thought that was meditating when I would read it. I had 90 days clean. And so I read her book, and it made sense, and I was like, oh, cool, thank you. So I gave her a book back. So then about a day later, it dawned on me that this women's issue made sense to me. Like, racist, homophobic, insane, mercenary, crazy person read a book for women's issues, and it made sense, and it resonated. So then I was like, oh my God, am I gay? Am I... Excuse me. I called him like 3 times a day. Oh, Jerry, oh my God, this book made sense to me. What does it mean? So after about 90 days of that, and my sponsors don't understand why I'm so patient with them, but after 90 days of this crazy person calling them, with this nonsense about this book, he said, why don't you just go buy the effing book? And he hung up the phone. And I was like, so I went and bought the book. I read it for 7 years. Obsessive and compulsive, right? I read it for 7 years. It made sense every day except for 2 days a year. I still encourage people to read it. But anyway, so sponsorship, this person gave all of that to me. Experience, strength, hope, compassion. Now these were words I didn't know at that time. Keep that in mind. Empathy. He gave that to me for 8 years in a row. And I had opened an office in Seattle, and he had a crisis, and he called me and said, I can't sponsor you anymore. You got to find a new sponsor. I was at an NA meeting, outside a meeting. There was a guy I heard him share maybe 5 times. Walked straight up to him and asked him to sponsor me, and he sponsored me. So this is the beauty of that lifeblood. My first sponsor for 8 years has been my current sponsor for the past 7 years, and I had 3 sponsors in between Seattle, Dallas, and New York. And they all gave me something. And I'm going to tell you all a quick story. I don't know how much time. You're supposed to be timing.
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
You got 5 minutes
Are you
left.
shitting me?
You got 5 minutes left.
Oh, my God.
We started late.
Okay.
You can wrap it up.
Condense all this into 5 minutes. So anyway, you know, I'm clean. I'm doing the program. I'm doing HNI, and I'm living in Dallas at the time. And some guys in Fort Worth broke into a pharmacy through the roof, down a rope, to get this drug. And they said the name of the drug on the news. I was like, I ain't never heard of that. They didn't have that shit when I was getting high. These people crazy. Because they shot it up, and then they couldn't climb back up the rope, so they responded to the police. The police came in and arrested them like stupidest American criminals or something.
Oh my gosh.
But this is the disease of addiction. The name of that drug stayed in my head. Subconscious, way in the back. I'm sharing. My third sponsor was a criminal defense attorney in Dallas, and I really felt pressure now. I wish he would have told me something. You couldn't argue with him because he got paid to argue. But anyway, he got pancreatic cancer, and he was this character, this larger-than-life character, but he was in the hospital, and he had shrunk down to this little tiny person. I would go there every day after I'd leave my office to sit with him. And I'm sitting there with him one night, and I look on the food tray thingy, you know, the little food tray thingy at the hospital? And there's a bottle about this tall sitting there, and it's full. I can see that. So then I go, wonder what's in it. Oh shit, that's that drug these fools went through the roof to get. Now I'm in pain. This man is dying, right? I'm in pain. My first thought is, well, I'm in a hospital. I'll probably find a syringe. And I'm in my late teens of recovery years. I'm not a newcomer. So I sat it back on the tray. I called the guy who I had asked to temporarily sponsor me because Tim was dying. Not 2 minutes, but maybe 15 minutes later, boom, there's like 20 addicts in the room. And they got the nurse. Because I couldn't have done it. Because I was hurting. But anyway, so I'm saying that to say this whole sponsorship thing is a double-edged sword. And there's another story I wanted to tell, but due to the time constraints, are you a committee member?
No, I'm just a recovering drug addict.
Thank you, sir. Another area of giving, and the last speaker just talked about it, was my mother and my family. So I'm the youngest of 6. I was the antichrist child, you know what I mean? The one that was like excommunicated from the family, from the church, from everything. And then when my mom got sick about 11 years ago, they called me. They said, well, you're not married. You don't have kids. Mom's getting dementia. Why don't you come take care of her? I've got a national company I have at the time, and I'm busy, and I've got a very full life. And so I talked to my sponsor. I prayed about it. What are they doing over there? It's kind of freaking me out. Probably the banquet people. I also have PTSD, so if I die, don't worry about it. Disclaimer. So anyway, they wanted me to help take care of her, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I did. It coincided with some other things in life, so I was able to sell both my companies, and it was the honor of my life, that part with my mom. Conversely, with my siblings, I had to learn how to practice these principles with them and give them what I give you guys. At first, I wanted to just like punch my brother in the face like every day when I would see him. But anyway, so I've got this 90-year-old woman, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'd be like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And so one day, well, it was right before Christmas, we went to Atlanta for Christmas. Then we flew to Houston for Boxing Day, the day after 26th. And then I rented a car because we were going to go to Vegas to see two of my last living relatives there, an uncle and aunt. And so we went there for about a week. And then after that, I was like, well, what are we going to do now? And she was like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. What do you? We were like two freaking knuckleheaded kids, you know what I mean? So we drove all the way up to Seattle, Washington, because I always said if I could live there again, I would. And we stayed up there for like 6 years. And it was hard. And it was arduous. And I would get mad, like when she would throw poo at the bathroom at me or something, you know, I would get like really fucking pissed off. But then, talking to another addict, they said, why don't you get some help? Get some help. So then I got nurses to help and stuff, and then eventually we came back home to New Orleans. But this is the important part about that giving and whatever my topic is. Atonement complete. I want you to feel what I just said. Atonement, amends, complete. Yeah. That slate is clean, Holmes.
Yeah.
Because of Narcotics Anonymous. By giving her that time, I got the gift.
Okay, come on. Woo.
I don't know if you're feeling that.
Yeah.
So I had written down some other ones, but Bob's kind of a stickler for the rules. I love Bob. I'm just fucking with him. Yeah. Through giving, like, I became the executor of her estate and stuff, so my siblings were always after me about stuff. And I told you I'd rather throw punch one of them than explain it or say this is what we're doing. But after about a month of me being a complete and total dick, something happened because of this process. And then I would take their calls and I would explain to them. Because none of them did. So I'm about to get emotional. None of them did anything, really. One of my sisters helped. They didn't really do anything. And so then I was kind of angry at them. So it took me about a month to get my mind right. And so now I give them information and I give them access to everything, which is not a lot. My mother wasn't a wealthy woman at all. But that's the gifts of giving for me. I've been allowed this amazing journey for over 3 decades. I got clean, I was 27 when I got clean. I just told you how old I am. Yeah, I'm 60. And I don't want to ever stop giving now. And I don't know when that paradigm shifted. I don't know when it became a thing, like a part of me, because this recovery process, if you stay in it, in the continuum of the steps, what my man was talking about, it becomes a part of us. Like something happens, my first thought isn't throat punch anymore, or crashing with the car. You know, one of my sponsees was on my Bluetooth one night, and the car smashed into me, and he heard me get out with a pistol, and I was like yelling, "Come here, you MF!" And they were dropping off, and then all of a sudden my legs gave out, and I was like, "I think I'm gonna sit down for a minute." So there are things, you know, there are things that can set it off. I couldn't think of a situation in that moment how giving would have helped because they took off. So anyway, Bob, I'm thinking that's my 5 minutes are up. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Chad. All righty, we can form a circle and close this meeting.